I just remembered I tattooed out of my friend's like recording studio, so that was really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were making music while you were tattooing?
Oh yeah, all sorts of crazy shit would go on.
You never got tempted to fucking
start rapping? Yeah. You know what's funny is I actually did a rap track.
Damn. Did you?
I did a rap
Where
track.
is this?
You know
thing,
what?
dude?
I wish I could find it.
You don't have it?
Dude, so I actually performed it. So I made one song ever.
Yeah.
But I actually opened up for Big Tuck, which is kind of like, he's like a big local, like, Houston, Dallas rapper.
So you created an album and performed it live?
Yeah.
How the fuck was that, dude?
It was nerve-wracking. I made sure I got pretty drunk.
Yeah.
I think you need to change your last name from singer to rapper.
It's come to my attention that a lot of you come here, watch the content, and don't subscribe. And that fact has been proven by those around me with a number figure of 90%. What's going on? You come here every week, you watch, just hit subscribe. That's it. That's all we want. Don't be a dick. Just hit the button.
Thank you guys for joining us. I know that was weak, right? Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode of Unemployable Podcast. Today we have Zack Singer with us. Thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Hell yeah. Cam thought I was telling him it was weak. I was just making fun of him for doing it. He's like, damn, you're right.
He lost his confidence.
Again.
You didn't practice this morning?
We've only done like 100 episodes.
Yeah, you haven't been on
like
the last 3, right?
He's like this.
Yeah.
Fuck. You're supposed to touch this one.
Yeah. Right. Like that. Look at your elbows.
Perfect form.
We're still trying to figure out who does a better intro as your substitute, me or John.
Dude, a lot of people were happy with Joe.
JoJo?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to not be happy
They're
with
like,
that
yo,
guy.
Future Cam's sick.
I can only wish to be as cool as Joe one day.
I know, me too.
That guy's so rad.
But we're not here to talk about Joe.
You're right.
How
We're here to
rude-
talk
how
about
rude
Zack.
of you. That's right. What do you know about Zack?
Fire tattoos. Really cool tattoos. I would say like first impression was like, whoa. Like looking at his work.
Which is your favorite?
And when I first saw it, it was just like a cool concept of just work, you know?
Yeah.
I had never seen anything like it before. So I'm excited to see where that, just excited to talk about that and see where that develops today, you know?
Sometimes when I look at your work, I feel like I'm on drugs.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dizzy.
I was like, what was this dude thinking?
First I was like, whoa. And then I was like, what was this dude thinking? Yeah, because I was asking him before you got here when you were late. Like I was like, what's your style? You know?
And what was he like? I don't know.
I mean, you were like talking about the development of it, right? Like it started with portraits.
I got bored doing just one specific style. Like I think as an apprentice, you come up thinking like, oh, I got to find myself. And so I went through all the different styles.
Zack, can you move your mic a little closer? This is.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can hear Logan breathing, bro.
So as I
Just do the Shane Gillis.
So I got tired of doing neo-trad tats.
Yeah.
And then I went through a phase where I really got into... Will you just hold it the whole time?
It's like a fucking press conference.
Technical difficulties. Stand by.
Listen, dog.
It needs like a mouth tracking thing.
I know.
That'd be kind of cool.
It
Right?
should
Not
just
gonna
shine
be
a
that
red
much.
light on your mouth. And if you're off, it's like
red
on your
light
forehead.
No, Zack.
All right, so style.
Yeah. So yeah, I went through a period as an apprentice when I was trying to find that, and everybody, I think, as an artist, is trying to. And so I wanted to try all the different styles out there, and then I really fell in love with portraits, and then I got really tired of it because
Like actual portraits?
yeah,
Like this is
doing
my
like
grandma,
realism
you could do
portraits.
this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Color, black and gray, both?
Mostly black and gray.
Yeah.
I got kind of wild with some colored portraits for a while, but it was never of any like actual like family members or anything like that, which you have to be a little bit more on point. It was more for just like loud, crazy style portraits. But I just didn't feel like I was, you know, being as creative as I could be. I felt like I was just duplicating a picture.
Yeah.
So then I started implementing, you know, like some of my crazy little doodles and weird stuff to their faces and adding a little traditional or neo-trad to it. And I really thought that was fun because I was able to do some line work. And then like any areas, you know, I wanted to just pack some super bright color in there. I was able to do that. And then, you know, I could show my skills as well with doing the portraits. And then people really thought that was an interesting mix of work.
Yeah.
And so that kind of kept me doing it for a while. Because, again, I wouldn't really get bored. You know, and my clients are amazing. They always kind of let me do my thing. So one day if I felt like doing a little bit more hand-drawn stuff, I could push the design that way. And there's days if I felt like, you know, doing a portrait or more portrait work in there, I was able to do that as well.
Yeah. So they're like doodle portraits.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
It's a nice breakdown. Yeah. So you doodle.
Doodle the portrait on there.
Yeah, it's sick when I like how you phrase that, because when I was an apprentice, I felt like that. Oh, I have to find my style. And I feel like even now, a lot of people are like, oh, and I was hearing this all at the convention last week. Like, I think the hardest thing for an artist is to like find their style.
You hear that all the time.
I don't know if I agree with it, but I know it's like I think you should, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the hardest part. I think maybe dealing with the people is the hardest part. But when you start to get a clientele that is like trusting in you and allows you to really explore, I think that's like kind of when you find your style.
Most definitely.
You know?
When I tell people, too, it's like some people, they're so focused on finding their style, they don't pay attention to what they're actually good at.
Yeah.
And so really, like, you producing clean work, that's a style. Like,
Yeah.
some people rather have a really clean tattoo. And then
Good tattoos can be a
like
style.
You coming up
Yeah.
with this crazy wow factor, and then half the tattoo's trash.
Right.
You know, so I forget, I was reading some book, and they're talking about, like, the 80-20 rule. And it's like doing 80% of what you're 100% good at, and then applying 20% of something new. So if you take
like
that
that
and apply that to your tattoo as well, it's like the majority of your tattoo is going to be awesome, and then it allows you a little area of your tattoo to try something new, whether it's like, okay, I want to do some portrait stuff and mix it with my neo-trad.
Yeah.
Cool. Maybe you have a little like thick outline with a little area inside of it that might have no outline in it, that you kind of maybe do a little portrait flower or something. And all of a sudden you got a client that's like, oh, I love this little flower. Then boom, now you get to do that little 20% again on your next tattoo. Yeah. And then you can sit there and kind of evolve it, and then it keeps your tattoo from being trash instead of like jumping way outside your normal comfort zone and then doing a bad tattoo, and your client's like, why didn't you take a picture?
Right.
Like, I fucked it up.
I ran out of space on my phone.
Yeah. My Instagram's full.
That's a good rule, the 80-20.
No, it's a cool concept too, because it's like being able to try new stuff while like keeping your work semi-similar to like your past works as well.
When everybody is an artist, like you've done a tattoo where you're like kind of like, oh fuck, you know,
Right.
it kind of keeps the whole tattoo from not feeling like that. You're like, well, I crushed this part because I'm really good at doing X, Y, and Z, and then the other side, it's like, it's all right.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll go like 50-50 and I'll be like, that was a bad idea.
Well, I think we've all done that too.
Yeah.
You know?
So how long you been tattooing?
I think like 21 years.
Did you know that, Cam?
Holy shit.
Yeah, bitch.
Take that.
Yeah. Well, that was
It's
like,
when I say that, because like it feels fake.
I
but I'm
know.
like, fuck, I've been tattooing since I was 19. I'm 38.
because
For
I
real?
feel,
Yeah.
Damn.
dude, I feel like when we hang out, like when we first met, I was like, yo, this is cool because you're like kind of like OG, like been around for a while, but you're young. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, Zach's got all this like knowledge from like before my time, but you're still really young.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, so that I like, it's like somewhere in the middle.
I feel like a tattoo vampire.
You're like, yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're a tattoo vampire, so that's cool. Where was your apprenticeship? Like, where did this start?
In Dallas, Texas. I apprenticed at a street shop under a guy named Billy Jack. And it was your typical street shop. It was super fun. But it was kind of crazy, though, because it's not like now where you can pick out a shop. You're like, oh, they got a cool Instagram, and, like, they've got these cool artists. Like, I didn't know. Actually, I knew one person, and I met him through, like, a mutual friend. He was like, yeah, this tattoo artist, he's having a party. And so I'm like this, like, fuckhead kid, like, rolling some blunts. I'm like,
How old are you?
I was 19.
All right, yeah.
Yeah. And so we're at this party or whatever, and my friend introduced me to Billy Jack, and he's like, yeah, this guy does paintings. I've always been an artist.
Right.
Never knew that I would like do anything really with it. He's like, bring by some of your paintings by the shop. Maybe we can hang them in the, you know, and sell them for you or whatever. So I load up some, probably like 8 or 9 paintings and take them to the shop. And he's like, holy fuck, dude. He's like, you ever thought about tattooing? And I was like, nah.
The tattooer said that?
Yeah.
Damn, that's sick.
Yeah. And so, and at that point I had already like moved out, had an apartment, had bills and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let me tell you how it works. He's like, you work for me, open to close for no money. I'm like, how the fuck am I gonna do this?
Hands on hips.
Yeah. Sounds like a deal.
Let me break this down for you, boy.
Yeah. One thing led to another. I ended up quitting my job, and then
He sold you on it? You're like,
like this makes sense.
He got you. Yeah.
Well, I was actually able to like switch some of my hours and go in and work like super early, and then get out of there by noon, and then get to the shop and still. And
That's
then here
what
I am
it
today.
was. Dude, that's what it was. It wasn't fucking like pick the coolest Instagram or whatever. It was like whatever shops in the area, and you beg them for a job.
There was legit people I was like, kind of like, man, this dude's kind of freaky. Like a couple of them been in like prison and shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they were nice to me, ish. You know?
If I did things for them.
They lured me
Times,
in.
like once I was tattooing and stuff, I came in this one day and they like, that was back when you'd use like, every needle grouping was a different machine.
Yeah.
You know? So I came in one day and they had all my machines apart, shooken up and tossed in my drawer.
Your machines?
Yeah.
Nice.
And so like before my appointment, I had to be like, hey, sorry, these assholes took apart my tattoo machines.
Right.
Shake and baked them.
Yeah. I'm learning.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Probably, yeah, you'll put like the back spring on the front spring of a different like
Yeah.
Ford Rogers machine. Yeah. But yeah, times were wild.
And then how long was that?
My apprenticeship?
Yeah.
So it's kind of a wild story too. So I was supposed to wait like 1.5 to 2 years before I started tattooing. And my mentor had went out of town. I've been working there like 6 months. And one of the tattooers, this was back when people like drink and tat.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know? It was not a big deal.
Like a few days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they go down to the bar to grab lunch and shit. They come back pretty lit and they're like, you're fucking tattooing. And I'm like, I think they're like,
Oh, like
kidding.
they
And
went
they're
out, they got trashed, and they came back with an
yeah, and they're like,
idea.
you're doing a tattoo.
Right.
And I'm like, what the fuck? And so, they're
Bro,
like,
wouldn't it be
anything-
crazy if we just made Zack tattoos?
I was like, that's gonna get me fired. They're like, we're gonna get your ass fired either way.
Nice.
And I'm just
All
like,
right.
all right, this
Nothing
is
to
fucking
lose,
wild.
baby. Yeah.
So I had this little skull and crossbones drawn up or whatever. It's probably like the size of this little cup.
Yeah.
And
Here comes the rain.
Welcome to Florida.
I set up, and then I was on this dude Mikey. And what's crazy is I still have my stencil from my first tattoo ever.
How?
Dude, right? I came across it, and I still know that I'm still friends with the guy that did my first tattoo on it.
Nice.
So I need to get a picture of all of that. Actually.
Yeah.
Anyways, we set up, and so I start doing my tattoo. I got dudes coming up, like smacking me in the back of the head. He's like shaking his leg.
While you're tattooing?
I'm like sweating. They're
Yeah.
like just looking at my tattoo. They're like, you're fucking it up.
Right.
And
Drunk as shit.
yeah, right. Just like spitting tequila into the tattoo. But I actually ended up doing a really good job on this tattoo, surprisingly, with all the bullshit that was going on. And then the next day, my mentor called up there, and they were just like talking, and then they were like, they called me Pigpen.
Okay, cool.
Fucking gross. This was okay. I'm joking around. He was like, "Let me talk to Pigpen." And so I get on the phone, and he's like, "You're lucky that you did a good job on this tattoo. Otherwise, your ass would be out of here." I was like, "All right." And
So
he's
I'm
like,
not fired?
yeah, basically. And he's like, "You did a really good job on this tattoo." He's like, "There's no reason for me to hold you back." So I started
Nice.
tattooing pretty much 6 months into my apprenticeship.
Turns out you were even better when people weren't fucking with you and
Yeah,
throwing
it's
up
weird
on
how
your
that works. Yeah,
tattoo.
they were yanking their leg around.
And then so you're tattooing at this shop. How long?
I worked for him for probably 7 years.
Nice.
And it was a good shop. Like it really evolved with the times as well. Like it
Yeah.
went from like picking flash off the wall to doing custom stuff.
Cool.
And I thought that was really important because there was times where I didn't really have to worry about the cool art. You know, it was just
Yeah.
like just focus on making it clean and kind of. There was a point where it was like, hey, get that shit done. Get that shit done. You know,
Yeah.
so it kind of got me to not be too slow, if you will.
Yes. I feel like walk-in shops will do that for you.
I think it's pretty fire too, because sometimes I think as an apprentice you can get so caught up on like, well, this is what the cool guy on the internet's doing.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, it doesn't look like that, you know, then it's whatever. But it's like if you're like, oh, I've done that tattoo 3 times this week, like
Right.
you're not worrying about any of that. You're just like, damn, this one's way cleaner than the last one, instead of just coming up with crazy shit.
And you get to practice a lot of the mental part of tattooing, right? Like how to deal with the stress, you know, deal with the client and like get it done quickly. And I feel like what happens in that time is like you have a walk-in and maybe you know you have another one after an appointment. So like time is not really on your side, and you learn like which battles to fight and which to just like let go.
Right. Yeah.
Like, okay, they're not like, I can read this person. I'm starting to learn how to read a person. They're not going to let this go. Let me just say yes. Or like, okay, they seem open. Maybe I can steer them real quick into the air. Or like, I know like how big or small I should make this, or what body part. Like you start like learning all these things.
Right.
And it helps you like so much later. Like when you move to full day sessions, or like people want to quote things out hourly, like even simple things like, okay, it's on the ribs, it might take twice as long.
Yeah.
You know?
Because
Or
it doubles in size as they stretch.
or like, oh, it's on, you know, this part of the body, it's probably not going to stay that well, so I can let them know ahead of time. Like, oh, you know, this might be a rough heel, you come back, touch it up, or like, hey, maybe you don't want to put it there. Like, I feel like that's where I started to learn those things.
No, for sure.
You
And
know?
how to be more efficient. You know, you've done the same tattoo a few times or whatever. You're not worried about like coming up with the crazy design, but you're like, oh, I know how to get to this tattoo much more simple. Because I remember the point where I figured out like doing tribal stuff.
Yeah.
And like, oh, don't spend forever outlining this thing.
Yeah.
Just use a wash, rip through it, get your mag out, color that shit in. It's like you can chop off an hour and a half or 2 hours because you're not sitting there saturating the lines on the outside, and then you get a more solid, you know, black work at that point.
100%. And then you learn
that
like,
applies
oh,
into your designs. Now you can like, oh, I remember from doing this like Cherry Creek flash, like how to do my piece more efficient because
dude.
X, Y, and Z.
Right. Like I would never do tribal, but like learning like, holy shit, I can go back and clean things up is going to save so much more time.
Right.
Or even just how to saturate black, which I feel like half the fucking industry has forgotten how to do.
It's actually way harder than people think. People are like, oh, blackout stuff's easy. It's like to do a botched version of it. It's not solid.
Yeah, or even like, and I was talking to a few artists about this recently, just saturating black in like normal tattoos. You know, even in like portraits or in Neo or whatever, like it just looks so rushed sometimes on the internet, man. And it's like, no, just take your fucking time, bro. Yeah. And I think like what helps me remember is like I have a special black set out just for the black areas, and I go back in at the end. So like everything's done. I've, you know, carved out my whole tattoo. Now I'm gonna go back to all the areas and hit it with the ultra black, and then I put in my white highlights.
That shit is black.
It's fucking black. Yeah. But it, you know, sometimes like I'm going through the tattoo and maybe I'm like moving quick and I'm not taking the time to like either look at it on the green soap or really just give it a good look. Like, did I saturate this? And like, I really don't have to if I'm going back at the end, saturating it anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it allows the tattoo to like bleed out too. So you can see the true like pigment that's saturated.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's surface level.
Yeah.
You know, and after it's sat there 15, 20, 30 minutes or 8 hours later, when you torture your client, be like, we're going to make this blacker.
You actually seem pretty decent at getting the black in there.
Yeah, I just emphasize it. It's cool.
It's sick.
It's so satisfying.
It's easy when you have
one of my favorite
allegory.
parts.
Not of our sponsor.
So in these like 7 years, like you were just kind of doing every style?
Yeah. But I remember trying to implement some of my like, I've always added like weird stuff to my drawings. I don't really know why.
Okay.
But I remember trying to like implement like weird like drippy stuff and like, I don't know, like bubbles and abstract things around my art. And people like not vibing with it.
Yeah.
You know, they were like, that's dumb.
Yeah, that's weird.
You know,
Take
they're
out
like,
all that
That's
shit.
not what's on the wall.
Right. Yeah. Are you tired of using ink bottles that are spelled correctly? Do you find yourself texting during ad reads for companies? Well, I do, and that's why I use Allegory Black. Are you tired of your black arms looking blue? Do you suck at tattooing and you want to get better? Use Allegory Black. Allegory has normal black and ultra black. Just when you thought it couldn't get any darker, they put out Ultra Black. Use Allegory ink. It's the best ink on the planet. Go to AllegoryInk.com and use discount code Unemployable for 20% off. I know, it's crazy. It's so much money. You really should pay full price, but we have a discount code. Right, Alex?
That's right. So when did you open your own shop?
Was it at the end of 7 years?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I went and did a private studio thing for a while, and then worked at a friend's shop. And it was probably, what year did it open? I think 2015. Yeah. So I started opening up my shop, and that's when I found out I was about to have my daughter.
Gotcha. What got you to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm gonna open my own shop?
I felt like it was just it was the next step. It just made sense.
Like the natural
I had
progression.
friends that wanted to work with me. Like I was super ambitious, and it just happened.
Like by this point, you'd met a bunch of people, you bounced around in the industry a little bit, and it's like, okay, I think I have the tools to just do my own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it was the only next step because I feel like I felt like I never left my private studio. It was one of those ones where like I lived downstairs.
Yeah.
And I worked upstairs. I mean, it was two separate entrances, but there was like weeks where I was like, man, I haven't left. You know,
How
I'd be,
was that, though?
waking
'Cause,
up and
like-
I'd hear someone knocking on my door up there.
Sometimes that sounds like an attractive thing.
It's trash.
It's trash. All right.
It's cool for a little bit.
Right.
But I mean, I think maybe that was important at the same time, you know?
Yeah.
I'm kind of not in that same situation, but I've had a private studio for the last, I think, 4 years now.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. I think it's all necessary, like to have that quiet time to yourself. Like I feel like after I did close my shop, that I got to really, really focus on my art. Like I got way better at tattooing. I didn't feel like I plateaued when I had my shop, but you know, you're worried about like, did John steal Becky's last needle? And
Yeah.
like, someone being like, we're out of toilet paper. It's like, get fucking toilet paper. Like I'm sitting here designing with my client,
Right.
you know, and like all these different things that kind of took away, at least for my brain.
No, I think that's every shop.
So whenever I got to kind of close all that out, like I noticed a dramatic difference in my artwork. Like I was able to just really focus in and just go.
So it was private studio, not private studio, shop.
Yeah, I had
and
a
then
shop
private
for
studio.
6 years.
So the first one was the live-in private studio.
Yep.
The Love Suite.
The Love Suite.
The
The Tat Shack.
So how long do you have that one?
I think it was only like 2 years.
And then and then why do you decide to go with like a shop with an artist in it?
Because I had some friends at that point that were like, yo, you should open up a shop. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I should do what you're saying. Yeah, and then so at that point I started looking at locations, and then obviously you've opened a shop. It takes a while to actually make it happen. And so then I worked at a couple friends' shops and did some guest spots and traveled a lot. And
Yeah.
actually,
while it was
I just
getting
remembered
ready?
I tattooed out of my friend's like recording studio. So that was
Nice.
really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were making music while you were tattooing?
Oh yeah, all sorts of
Damn.
crazy shit would go on. You know who the rapper Lil Flip is?
No.
Cam?
He would
But I believe you.
he would come in there. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of like local, you know, not local, but like Texas rap artists. It was a pretty known shop. Valley
Was it
King.
cool? Or
It was tight. It was a
annoying?
unique
Yeah.
thing, you know.
You never got tempted to fucking
Start rapping. Yeah. You know what's funny is I actually did a rap track.
Damn.
Did you?
I did a rap
Where
track.
is this?
You know
thing,
what?
dude?
I wish I could find it.
You don't have it?
Dude, so I actually performed it. So I made one song ever.
Yeah.
And then I actually, you know who Big Tuck is?
I'm like the worst.
what the
I know. I'm
Big, there's these medium
So
art.
the first time I ever performed it, I actually opened up for Big Tuck, which is kind of like, he's like a big local, like,
Nice.
Houston, Dallas rapper.
So you created an album and performed it live?
Yeah.
How the
Damn.
fuck was that, dude?
It was nerve wracking. I made sure
I
I got
bet.
pretty drunk
Yeah.
before.
Was it
Like,
a
we're about to
hit?
go on, I'm like, oh, dude, it was all over the radio. No,
Top
it
10.
definitely wasn't a hit.
Dude, I'll drop a beat
What
right
did
now, bro.
what did your big friend think of it, dude? The
Big Tuck.
Big Tuck.
Big tummy tuck.
He actually asked me for my autograph.
Damn, bro, you denied him?
No, I don't
$10.
remember.
Yeah.
I think you need to change your last name from singer to rapper.
Yeah.
Zack rapper.
What kind of rap were you rapping about?
tats.
Yeah, it was basically like tattoo rap.
Tat.
Hard.
Think about it, it's been so long.
All right. Model Citizen used to be cool before Alex started wearing it. Are you tired of being unattractive to everyone around you? Well, not anymore. With the Model Citizen apparel, you'll be beating them off with a stick. Finally, tattoo clothing that is actual quality, that I can wear around and feel good. For real though, the quality of these clothes is top notch. This is like nothing you've ever seen before with a tattoo company. This isn't some Gildan bullshit. These are quality, hand-picked clothing. They have everything from vintage styles, oversized clothes, modern tees. Go to themodelcitizen.com. Get them before Alex does. How long did it take to get the shop open?
Probably like a year.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
And then I
remember we were tattooing out of there before it was even like fully open. I had like the windows covered.
Yeah.
Like,
You'd be dumb not to.
yeah, right. I was like, I'm paying the rent.
Yeah.
Fucking
This makes no money, and I pay rent every month. Yeah. So, and did all your friends join you?
A bunch of them. Yeah.
Like a lot of the ones
really
that were
time.
encouraging you to open it and stuff.
Yeah.
Nice.
Kevin Leroy was actually one of my first clients too. Yeah.
First clients?
No, not clients.
Cousins?
Yeah, he's my dad. No, yeah, we worked together.
Yeah.
It was really.
You had
fun.
a couple names over there, right?
Yeah, most of them had names.
Some had numbers. Yeah. No, but that was cool too. Like when I was talking to you about it, I was like, "Oh shit!" Like you came up with all these people.
Yeah,
You know, which is cool.
Yeah, it was definitely a really good time.
Yeah. And then how long was that open?
6 years. We finished the lease. So we got shut down during COVID for like 3 months. And of course, we were like paying rent and everything like that. We opened back up. Fortunately, I was still pretty busy. I was able to pay the rent. But it was still really slow. And it was kind of divine timing. It was at the time for the renewal for the lease. And they're like, you want to re-sign a 6-year lease? And I'm like, bro, we literally just opened back up from being shut down. So it was really like up in the air. And so I just closed up, man. And everybody kind of parted their ways, you know. We're all still, everybody that worked at the shop were still pretty cool. So really no burnt bridges, really.
Was that a tough decision?
It was. I kind of felt like maybe it was like I was a failure or whatever. But again, the same type of scenario with the private studio. Like I really got to harness my creativity, and I feel like it was kind of a blessing. Like I got to reestablish myself as an artist again, because I wasn't worried about just like making the shop and doing all these exterior things. You know, it was really fulfilling to just literally come in, open my doors, sit with my client, and just create the most badass tattoo that I possibly can. You know, and it didn't feel as forced. You know, like I would get in my flow state much quicker.
What do you like? So you owned a big shop with a bunch of artists, and then obviously closed it down. Did you like notice anything once that like responsibility and all that was like lifted? Like, were you like, holy shit, I didn't even realize like how much time went into just running the shop, or like,
For sure.
it's nice to not have to deal with the personalities, or like, did you go through any of that? I know initially you said maybe
for sure.
you felt.
It was all of that actually. But there was still like a lot of self-doubt, like, oh man, should I have not have done that? Did I give up? You know, all these things. But I was like, it really made sense, and I'm glad that I did it.
Yeah.
And it's gotten me to this point, you know. And I'm fortunate at my level of tattooing. Like I still have my conventions and all my friends everywhere else. You know, and sometimes I'd do the phone a friend, like FaceTime a homie and be like, yo, what do you think about I should do on this tattoo? My friend James Hall.
Nice.
Yeah, and Andreas Acosta, like those are some of my homies that I'll kind of like hit up to ask like some questions, or kind of like, hey, what do you think here? Because that's one thing I do miss about being in a shop, is having that kind of like, you know, take people's opinions, you know, bouncing ideas back and forth, seeing like random ideas happening.
Right.
But again, it's like I kind of search within, you know. And
it's just like a new chapter.
Yeah.
It's interesting though, because obviously you're doing amazing right now.
Sure.
You've done everything, you know, from, you know, building your own career, opening like a big shop with artists, closing that down, having the private studio. So for me, it's like really interesting to get your experience on that. You know what I mean? Do you ever think you would open another shop?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's been in my head recently. My lease is going to be coming up here pretty soon. Yeah, I think I'm going to open up another shop.
Cool. In
And
Dallas?
I learned a lot from, the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
So I have a much different perspective on how I'm going to go about it, for sure.
Are there any of those things you could share with us today? You're like, I'm not going to fucking hire this person.
Yeah. First, I'm going to start walking into all the tattoo shops asking if they're ready to go.
Right.
Offer them better deals. It's really in the beginning phases. I've got a couple locations that I'm looking at. Yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna happen. I can feel it.
Yeah, because even from having this place and then opening a new shop, there were some things that I'll give you an example. With this one, we did not do like a break room, like a place for essentially like artists to like chill. I was like, you could just chill all over the shop. Because the thinking was like, damn, I don't really have that much, finances to invest. Like I really need like every inch of this place to be like generating money to be able to like sustain itself, And then I was like, you know what? Maybe it would be cool to like just have like a little room to chill, even if it doesn't like have tattooers making money in it. That was just like a little thing that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
And then we like got that and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I like came back here and I was like, okay, well, we do have like a little like coffee station. Like, let me try to at least bump that up a little bit. Like, and it would like kind of bounce back and forth, but like always changing. And I thought it was cool that you said the one shop you were at like kept up with the times. Mm-hmm. Like, Flash, now we're doing custom. And that's like something I'm always trying to think of. Like, are we keeping up? Are we relevant in terms of like operations, what we offer? And like that kind of things.
I think the main thing with that is like just not having resistance to like what you feel like is going on with the shop. Yeah. Like you're like, oh, the shop's going great, and like it starts to go a certain direction, and be like, no, we're not going to change anything. I think that's where the failure happens. So I think as long as you're, like Bruce Lee said, like be like water.
Yeah.
Like you kind of do that with your business as well. As don't be too rigid in one direction,
right?
Because not one style or one thing's going to work forever.
Yeah, and like maybe one of the topics on that was, at the other shop we have like a medical staff, and like you see everyone doing the anesthesia. So then that topic came up. Everyone's like, should we do that? And then
risk your life to get a tattoo? Hell
yeah. I mean, I decided against it because I care about my clients. No, I'm just kidding. We decided against
them to feel the pain. I think that's kind of like the thing is you earn that shit. People are like, oh, damn, you're covered.
Yeah.
How was that? And it's like,
I didn't feel
through
it
and earn it. Yeah.
I was asleep the whole time.
What do you think about the sleepy tats?
Whack.
Like all the football stars do it and shit like that.
Yo, and it's like the toughest the people that you would think would be like the toughest motherfuckers out here are like the ones going under.
I'm like pretty surprised all these sports players are doing it because like doesn't anesthesia really affect your physical health?
Well, I know there's different depths of anesthesia too. So like I don't know how deep
like
you're taking some of these people. Yeah, basically.
Like how close to death were you?
Spinning the fucking fuck, I'm still getting tattooed.
One of my clients is an anesthesiologist, and he was talking. He was like, I don't understand why they're getting put under. He's like, you can easily do a nerve block. Like when you go to the dentist and they do like a shot and then like you can't feel your jaw.
Oh yeah.
Like they can go in and like hit like a nerve and like numb your arm.
It's funny you said that because my girl said that too. And I just said yes, but I had no idea what she was talking about. I was like, totally, that's what I was thinking. But like anesthesia is dangerous. Yeah. People die all the time from it.
Right.
So really the deciding factor is like, I was like, well, I don't want to be the first one that kills her client.
Let that happen.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that happen first and be like, "Well, I told you," and then we'll open it. No, just
told you you'll die.
But it's just like, yeah, it just seems unnecessary, I guess.
Yeah,
like I feel like
it's weird though because it's like the client wants to get put under and they want you to do the tattoo. Like, would you be like, no, I'm not gonna do it?
What do you mean?
But they want to get tattooed by you, right?
Yeah.
They're like, I want a John Nelson,
right?
Fucking tat. And they're like, but I want to get put under. Like, would you be like, no?
Well, we don't have the means right now. I mean, I guess I could hire.
If they could figure it out. They were like,
if they could figure it out?
Yeah.
Would I participate in
tomorrow.
that with zero liability? Maybe.
There's definitely a waiver. They're not like, If you die, that's all the tattoo artist's fault.
I know. People still fucking see you, though. Like,
I want witnesses. I don't know what they're doing with my unconscious body.
yeah, I want, like, camera interviews.
No one's finna
I want, like,
diddle
5
me.
things that I have to sign.
I think I would do it, but I would be like super honest about it. I would almost talk to them the same way I'm right now. And they'd be like, oh, he's really not into this, but he's going to do it.
Yeah, I would be like, hey, I'm going to change the design a little bit. If you're cool with that, don't say anything.
Imagine you start explaining shit.
Like, try to ask them a question. Like, so do you want to use, like, blue or green?
Oh. I know we talked about the leg, but, dude, you just have a face for a castle.
They wake up with the tattoo in the wrong place.
They're, like, looking for it, and I'm like, guess again.
Imagine you're falling asleep.
Yeah.
You're falling asleep, and the last thing you hear was, "Where did you want it?"
Color or black and gray?
Come on, you didn't answer. What do we do now? I'm just guessing. So you have a seminar coming up in June at
Yeah, here in Florida.
Treasure.
20th through the 24th, yeah.
Seminar on what?
How to not suck at life.
Whoa.
I'll be there.
That'd be a good title. Like,
Yeah, right.
Zack Rapper. How to not suck at tattooing.
I'm still trying to figure that out. No, I'll be going over stuff like how to evolve your tattoos with time to like stay relevant, and then like different black and gray techniques from like opaques,
Nice.
and just like my gray wash setup. Yeah, a few other things.
Have you done them before?
Yeah, this will be my 3rd seminar.
Yeah. How was your first one? Did you feel like you're gonna have a panic attack?
Most definitely. Like the first like minute and a half, I just was like.
Right.
Luckily, one of the people in the audience like came out with a really good question.
Just surfed on it.
It made it
the entire
way
way.
easier because I just answered the question and then I started just flowing.
What was
Like,
the question?
do you have
Oh, I don't
cerebral
remember
palsy?
what the question was. Yeah, but I would literally just started sweating. I think I apologized. I was like, "Sorry, this is my first one."
Sorry.
How long ago was it?
This was probably like 4 years ago. It was at a what was it? Explorer. There was a bunch of people. There was
How many
like
people?
almost at least 100 people.
Damn.
And then also like
Microphones are
Nick Baxter was
uncomfortable.
there, Big Me's was there. There was like other people, and I'm like, I'm an idiot compared to these people. But the thing is like we were talking about seminars. Is like you're there to just talk about you and what you do to create your work. So like there's nothing that you're having to like memorize or do anything like that. So it's
Like you're
it's a little
saying
bit
your
easier.
experience.
Yeah, and that's what they're there to hear. You know. So
Yeah, because I was telling him we got the seminar coming up, and I was like, you actually gave me some really good feedback. You know, you're like, yeah, don't be afraid to like ask them questions, engage with the
Yeah.
audience. And I'm like, oh, that's key.
when they get a lot more of what they want. Like you can go in there thinking that like, oh, this is what I'm going to tell them, and it's like those may be some topics that you think are important. You know,
Right.
so it's like if you ask, do the Q&A. It's like you're utilizing their time really well.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited, dude. I want to see one of your seminars. I've been very like in that, like, cool. I want to see what people are offering here and there. And I think that there are a lot of people like offering some real shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there are people that are offering some bullshit, So it's cool to like see who's doing what. And I like the fact that you've like already done seminars. So you've had time to go back and revise and get the experience of actually doing it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what I'm looking at too, is like who's been out there that's done a bunch of seminars. Because obviously if you're selling bullshit or if they're not good, or like you're probably not going to, do them over and over and over again.
Right.
Word probably would have gotten out like, yo, this kid sucks or whatever the fuck. So yeah, you said June at the convention.
Yep,
Doing
on
a
Friday.
seminar on Friday. Keep your eyes out.
Yeah.
Cam, take us away, baby.
Zach, again, thanks for joining us today, man. It was awesome having you on. And we'll catch you guys next week.
Didn't even let him reply. It's great to have you on. We'll catch you next week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Guys, hope you enjoyed the episode. I know we joke around a lot and get wild on some topics, but one topic I take very serious is addiction. If you or anyone you know is struggling, don't be afraid to reach out and get the help you need.